Good morning, Sally.
Good morning, Thomas.
You have reached Thomas and Sally's World, a conversation show about reselling. And today we're going to be talking about hiring, part 3, but also before the video even really starts, subscribe, click the bell, thumbs up, thumbs down, leave comments, do it all, engage, because we need it. So,
Thomas,
hiring part 3.
you've made some progress. I understand. Yes, let me see. First video, we talked about should you hire. Second video,
When to
we
hire.
talked about how to hire.
Yep.
And I understand you went ahead and posted something on, where did you hit? Craigslist?
Yep, I did Craigslist. So to post an ad on Craigslist, I did it so I'm in the Detroit area. The Detroit area is made up on Craigslist of 3 separate zones. And I posted in the zone that is where I'm at. And it cost me $35, and you get to upload a photo and a job description and all this stuff and the wage. Took me, I copied and pasted a few other people's things. I went into the thing that you did and it worked great. I posted it at like midnight Eastern time last night. And by I think 10 a.m. I'd already gotten 2 responses. And what's really nice about Craigslist, you don't have to give out your email. It makes this like cryptic email that you can that someone responds to, and then it goes to your email. So you never actually have to post your email to the listing.
And that's where I come up with a fake email like jobs or something, so that it goes there, because you will get all kinds of crap when you're getting there. Well, you know, listing in Craigslist and Indeed is going to get you some responses, obviously. Hey, did you look at them? Are they any good? Are they?
I haven't looked at it. I've been shipping all morning. I'm going to look at it. The first one that preloaded had no punctuation. So that's a bad look. It was just like one run. You could tell it was talk to text. And I'm like, don't think so.
Oh, somebody's taking shortcuts.
Exactly, already.
Well, you know, we had talked briefly before about maybe broadening our view of eligible people for our job. So I think there's a bigger hiring pool than just putting it in the general categories. For example, I think you mentioned to me that when you're making your Craigslist posting, there's a couple boxes you can check at the bottom.
Yeah, I did tell you. Yeah, I talked to you about this before. So on the bottom, right when you submit, there's a little box that says this job is open for disabled or handicapped people, something along those lines. So if you click that button, I don't know what it directs you to, but I'm guessing it's a little like red line, or maybe it directs it immediately to nonprofits that are interested in getting more disabled or handicapped people involved.
Well, you know, a lot of people, I think that's a good idea. I also wonder about posting in multiple categories. For example, I know Indeed has categories for senior workers and that kind of thing. So why not, you know, place a couple ads in those areas? And we talked yesterday. Yeah.
One thing also on Craigslist, when you make a posting, it asks you what is it, job sector this is in. So there's normal ones like, I don't know, contractor, outside labor, retail, those kind of things. And I was like, man, what do I classify this as? Because there's not one that says warehouse. There's not one that says e-commerce. So I thought about it and I was like, I wouldn't put it under the general labor or the miscellaneous category. So I just put it in retail. I couldn't think of anything else.
Another thing would be production. If there's a category for production.
Not an option.
Yeah.
Not an option. There's manufacturing, but that's not, this isn't manufacturing at all. There's business development, but this is not business development.
No,
even though you could say it's developing a business.
We kind of want to make this easy. So some of the groups that I think are really worth targeting are the disability groups. And that includes, there's specific referral organizations for people on the autism schedule. I think I may have mentioned that I have family members who are on that autism schedule, and man, are they great. They are great workers. They just, prefer to be alone and not be hassled too much. And that's one of the drawbacks of our job, is that you're alone a lot. So it might just be a job tailored for somebody who would prefer not to have a lot of distraction going on.
Yeah, I think that's a major concern, because a lot of people would say, man, like if I could hire someone who's not disabled for the same pay that I'd be hiring someone that's disabled, why would I do that? And the
Well,
answer, well, I mean, the answer is that someone who might be developmentally disabled could hold down this job longer, would like doing it more, would make you feel more fulfilled by not only hiring somebody that needed the opportunity, but also is easier to manage. Because if you have a really independent job and that person is directly suited for being an independent worker, what could be better? As long as the job is being done at the rate that you're looking for it to be done at, what does
a
it matter who you
couple of
hire?
things that I think are kind of interesting is, let's look at our shipping job. With probably little accommodation, that could be someone confined to a wheelchair.
Mhm.
Who, you could make minor accommodations. And speaking of accommodations, sometimes that's kind of scary. You think, oh, well, what if I hire someone and they, I need to make improvements? Man, it's going to be pretty easy. There are funds to cover your cost of making changes. And I'm not going to go too deeply into that. And I want to preface this by saying, you're listening to two people who one of them needs to hire and the other one, me, has had some hiring experience. Neither one of us are tax advisors. And, it probably will do you well if it's your first employee to spend some time, buy an hour with somebody and talk to them about what you need to set up when you hire somebody. We'll go into that a little bit later, but we have a person in the group, Cheryl, in the Daily Refinement group, who offers that services, and she's really good. And she understands the reselling business. If you are interested in getting connected with her, leave us a note and we can make that happen. So there's another advantage, in addition to probably hiring some of the best employees you'll ever have. And that is, there are certain incentives for employers, even small guys like us, to hire people who are in underserved, I guess that's a word, work groups. There's a program, I call it WOTC, WOTC. It's Work Opportunity Tax Credit. And it recognizes that there are some groups that are underserved. And and what they do is they say, look, if you will hire from this pool of workers, and there's, I think, 8 or 9 different categories, we're going to compensate you by giving you some tax credit. Now, again, Cheryl, you're going to know better than I am, but the difference between a deduction and a tax credit is tax credit is real money. So if you get to the end of the year and you owe $10,000 and you have $9,000 worth of tax credit, you only owe $1,000. So it's real money. So the groups who qualify for WOTC are, and there's a limit to how much money you're going to get, how much tax credit, and I'll list that too. Veterans, up to $9,600. Certain communities, up to $2,400. Ex-felons, okay, this one bothered me. Ex-felons, you can get $2,400 tax credit. And immediately I'm thinking, yeah, but what if they haven't quite cured their habit? Well, they also offer insurance for you, free, that covers this in case you have this. That's why felons have a hard time getting a job. Vocational rehabilitation recommendations, $2,400. Long-term temporary aid, people who are on some kind of temporary aid, whether it's SNAP or there's SSI people, long-term unemployed. Anyway, WOTC, and I'll post some stuff about that too. So you say, well, where am I going to find these people? Got you covered. There are any number of groups who are dying to make this happen. And because they want it to work, they're going to work really hard to make sure there's a match. So yeah, it's a little more work than just, tapping somebody in the grocery store and saying, want to work for me. But the long-term benefit can be there in terms of a quality employees and also in some potential tax benefits for you too.
Mhm.
So
all in all, this is a great opportunity, a great way we use the phrase hooks in the water on eBay a lot. It's a great way to put more hooks in the water, because the more people that apply, the higher chance you're going to find someone who's a better fit for the job than otherwise.
So Are you going to go in and check those boxes, or did you check those boxes in Craigslist ad?
Oh, I checked the box. I absolutely checked the box. Today, promise to myself is to reach out to these organizations. I already know of one of them in my area. I think it's called Work, something Oakland, something.
Well, that'll
But
get you quick.
I mean, so it
Type
won't
that
be hard
in.
to it won't be hard to find for me.
These are not
Um,
hard to find. They want to be found.
yeah, exactly. It's something I think a large part of hiring a handicapped or underserved population is not only the tax credit, but just like the mental satisfaction that I know that I would be more satisfied if I knew I was helping somebody who needed the help rather than just somebody who was, I don't know, who could work anywhere.
Speaking of people who can use jobs, there's a huge pool of talent in the senior area. And a lot of people like me are looking for something to do part-time. Sometimes they're living pretty close to the bone in terms of the amount of Social Security they get versus the incredible rise in costs. And so don't forget to look there. You might check some of your local senior groups. Again, there'll be lots of groups. So
one of my, a good example of this, one of my mom's good friends who lives in upstate New York, she retired from working at Cornell, like the student services, and went back, started getting got a job at Home Depot of all places. Why? Not because she needed the money, but just because she was bored to hell. My God, just sitting at home all day. Single. I mean, she did it because she wanted to, and it's fulfilling for her to do something.
now a shipping job isn't, if somebody wants to be a Walmart greeter because they get to see everybody, the shipping job isn't going to be it. But on the other hand, don't forget, there are some people who just need to make a little extra money. Speaking of work opportunity tax credit, there is no limit to the number of people that you can have. So you might have a job where, because it's kind of boring and repetitive, you have a couple part-time people doing it. You can double dip then. So each one would give you a tax credit. You have to file it within, I think, 28 days of them being hired, but it's a pretty straightforward process. And again, there's so much information if you just type in WOTC that will lead you, by the nose through it. So Thomas, you have some employees. How do you keep track of their hours?
I more or less assume that they work 40 hours, and I partly rely on them to keep track of it, because sometimes they'll say, okay, I'm going to leave, like, can I leave early 4 hours today, make it up over the next several days? And every time someone's asked me to do that, as long as I haven't, it's not totally important for them to work that same day, I'll say, yeah, sure, no problem. My last shipper would often take off half the day on Friday and then come in on Saturday morning and do the shipping for me, which I was totally satisfied with, because I'd get to go to brunch, do something with my girlfriend.
So you kind of handle it casually, and you're there often enough to know if they're really showing up for work or.
Exactly. I don't have cameras. I'm not watching them. Again, it comes down to, if you hire someone that you can trust, it's not totally as big of a deal. But if they're on W-2 as well, because I have a full-time place of work, I expect them to come in at a certain time, I expect them to leave at a certain time. If it's a 1099, again, this is, a little taxi, but if it's an independent contractor where they're working on their own, it's a lot harder to track those things. You just kind of have to trust them. But I can track it more reliably just because I have a place of work.
Something I did, I think they're still in business and it's free. It's called Time Clock Wizard.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked it because it actually calculated it checked them in, checked them out, and also calculated how much, what I owed them. So how do you do payroll?
QuickBooks Online.
Okay, are you using their payroll program, QuickBooks?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I couldn't afford that when I had just a few employees. So I did it myself, and you can do it yourself. And again, your SBA go to God, even the IRS, although, you know, I don't like to go to them, but the IRS or a small business, any number of places are going to give you a checklist of things you need to do.
Mhm.
And do them if it's your first employee. For example, I didn't realize that there's a number you need to call. You need to register with your labor agency, and again, online, to tell them you've hired someone within 20 days. And the reason is it started out to be so that people who are dodging child support, you know, they would know that they're working. Well, it's gotten to be a little bit bigger than that, but there are requirements and there are checklists, and I might even throw one up on our thing. Let me give you a highlight of it. It's not my horror story, thank gosh, because I'm married to somebody who wouldn't let me miss this. But when you write your employer's check, you know, it's pretty easy. Okay, well, you work 40 hours and I'm paying you $20 an hour. So I owe you $800. Oh yeah, that's my dog over there, Sammy. So I owe you $800. Oh yeah, wait a minute, there's that tax thing. So of course you got your W-4 filled out, and you need to kind of calculate that. But I go to a site online, paychecks.com, and they give you a free calculator that really works by state. So you say, okay, well, you really only get $720. Fine, here's your $720 check. Do not forget that the difference between what they've earned and what you write that check for no longer belongs to you.
Mhm.
Belongs to two really important people. And it's comprised of what they pay and what you match on certain tax categories. You not only owe them, you owe the government. And while the employee could be understanding, the government is not. So it's a best practice immediately to take that money and put it in another account so you don't even see it. Because assuming you're paying less than $2,500 a quarter, you can pay that quarterly. If you're over that, you need to pay it monthly. But at the end of every quarter, tattoo it on your arm, pay my 941s. I think it's 941s. That's your quarterly tax. If you don't, the government doesn't give you a lot of leeway. They're brutal. Now, the horror story is I had a favorite hamburger place in Longview, Washington. I always stopped out on my way to Portland. And gosh, it was a bustling, busy place, and I really liked their hamburgers. So I pull up, and son of a gun, there's like a big medieval chain locking their two doors together, and you know, some kind of an official sign. So being nosy, I went up, and they were chained shut for not paying their 941. So, you know, attention to the details on that kind of stuff is really important. And just look for a checklist. Do it, make it easy on yourself. Go online and find a free program to calculate the taxes, put it in a separate category, and you'll be good. I'm going to be really interested in seeing what happens when you reach out to these agencies. There's a whole lot of help, and I think it's going to be worth the effort to explore.
Same. That's this afternoon's job.
Well, this is a rather short video today, but it's to the point, and I think covers what we need to cover. So let's get on some.
I know. Well, I know we had minimum banter. So Sally, what are you doing today?
Are you ready?
What are you looking at hats? Oh, uh-oh, Bill's there. Well, you have to take care of Bill. You're gonna build
No,
you're gonna build a pirate ship.
I have to take care of all of the clothes I've got folded. I went on a tear yesterday and thought I'm going to organize myself. So I really did. I organized myself like crazy. I know this is completely off the video, but Bill, where are those shoes? I did. Did you notice Bill was in his underwear?
You know, no comment.
Yeah. Well, he was sitting down. He says, no, it's my gym outfit. He doesn't go to the gym. So I got, isn't he cute? I got this cool Sorels, and they are suede, and they were so nasty. I mean, the front of it was matted down and greased up and terrible. So look at them now.
Man, those are nice.
I'm going to do a short on how I did it.
Well, you gotta hit up Isaiah, do some shoe cleaning.
I will. I discovered that there's a thing that I buy to clean my toilet. It's a pumice bar. You can get them for $1 a piece on Amazon. And with this pumice, you just clean it up, and suede is, I mean, these were so bad. You'll see in the short how bad they were. They were so nasty. I was thinking about not lifting them. So we're kind of getting things sold. Our sweaters and coats are still going pretty good. I'm beginning to sell things like closed-toed shoes and winter stuff. And I asked you earlier, is it time to quit sourcing jackets and sweaters?
That blew my mind. She was like, hey, so like, what's the next thing I should source? Do you think I should keep sourcing sweaters and coats?
Or you go back to Gap jeans?
I was like, Sally, it's September. Are we serious? Yeah, she's serious. So yeah, keep sourcing your sweaters and your coats, guys. This is the time. Get those things up.
And I'm finding pretty good stuff. So tomorrow we're going to, I think I'm getting better at this. Do you think I'm getting better at it, Thomas? Am I getting better? Or am I
We're gonna
just
find it. Well, we're gonna find out tomorrow.
okay? So we're going to look at some of the things that I'm buying now. I really want Thursdays to be a place where we can increase our Rolodex. You know, mine has gotten better, and I firmly believe you pick a category like shoes and or sweaters, and one at a time just increase. I now can recognize brands. I can recognize fabric content. I go down, I can feel cashmere. I think I can anyway. I feel.
So during Flip or Flop tomorrow, we'll do you, and then we'll talk about some definite flips that I've been picking up, and I'll give a few tips and tricks.
You never talk about sourcing. You never do, and yet I know
I never do. I never do.
Bags of clothes once in a while. I don't know where they come from.
Yep, exactly. I get bags from a thrift store, but sometimes I go in there and shop as well, just before I pick them up. So I've been doing that the last few weeks because I pick up the bags once a week, and found some decent stuff.
I've been picking up more hats. You know, it's kind of like my guilty pleasure. And again, for those in the group, if you're not in the group, man, consider at least getting minimum membership so you can listen to these calls.
And we have no referral code. We get nothing out of it other than to deepen their pockets. So,
but that's it. But Tech does a call on hats, and I mentioned last night on his call that I go to sleep with him whispering in my ear, which he wasn't real fond of, but I do. I play his hat video over and over. It is so good. It's saved.
Bill must love it.
Yeah, I'm sure he does. Bill's snoring.
It's like the hat video again. Oh my God.
All right.
Sports specialty script. Come on, Sally.
I refer to it as hat porn.
That's hot. All right, we're ending with hat porn.
Yeah, we are. So tomorrow I'm looking forward to it. I've got a bunch of winners, I hope, lined up. And if you have any questions on hiring, be sure and leave us a comment.
Leave us some questions. Subscribe, hit the bell, thumbs up, thumbs down. Do both of those. Leave comments, like other people's comments. We want it all. Engage. We need engagement.
All right. See you tomorrow.
Bye. Morning.
Morning, jackass.
That's me.